Kyle Julian Camacho was only 17 when he was first accused of raping an 11-year-old girl. He was charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct and third-degree criminal sexual conduct. So why wasn't he convicted of the first-degree rape charges, which would have kept him behind bars until now? It turns out Camacho signed a plea deal with the Attorney General's office. Judiciary spokesman Josh Tenorio.
Based on the log notes that I've seen, I know that the government offered a plea agreement with the defendant, who was 17 at the time that he conducted the crime, and that the sentence was for 5 years, and all but 2 were suspended, and he got credit for time served.
As part of a plea agreement, Camacho agreed to plead guilty to third-degree criminal sexual conduct. The first-degree charge was then dropped by the AG's office. Pleading down to a lesser offense is not uncommon for sex offenders. It's a way for the prosecution to get a defendant to admit to a crime as opposed to just walking free.
The reason why you have a plea agreement is that the government is able to get the defendant to plead guilty to crimes, and in some cases, the government's cases for certain kinds of charges may not be provable. They might not have witnesses, and it's also less resources. So normally, I would say majority of cases are pleaded out. And that's the way I think the whole American judicial system is based on.
What about the suspended sentence? Judge Anita Socola handled Camacho's first case. According to log notes from his sentencing hearing last June, Socola agreed to suspend 3 of 5 years Camacho was sentenced to, a recommendation made by Camacho's defense attorney. The log notes quote Judge Socola as saying, "Sentence you to 5 years to Department of Corrections, but suspend 3 years. So you'll be released today and you'll be on parole for 3 years. She goes on to say, "You've taken responsibility of your action. You'll be released at this time." Camacho was then ordered to register as a sex offender. His name and picture remain there today. But despite efforts to keep the community informed, Camacho is now being accused of striking again. Last Saturday at around 8 p.m., police say Camacho abducted a 19-year-old woman at the Micronesia Mall parking lot. According to the magistrate's complaint, Camacho followed the woman to her car, pulled a knife on her, handcuffed her, then drove her to the Marble Cave area, where he continued to beat her. It's cases like this that Senator Brant McCready hopes to prevent from happening. McCready introduced Bill 6, the Predator Prevention Act. The bill targets those who commit first-degree and second-degree criminal sexual conduct and requires convicted felons to serve the full sentence. It would not allow sentences to be suspended. The senator says the bill is a start, but it sends a clear message.
This bill was just a start, and it's in an effort to send a message to these perpetrators and these predators that we will not tolerate it anymore. Am I open to suggestions as far as adding CSC 3? Absolutely, because in a perfect world we would eliminate CSC altogether. That's probably going to be a little hard.